Welcome back to VeVe in 3 with me, Corey, aka Old Rhubarb on VeVe, and I am solo today because Heather is in the Hurt Locker. But don't worry, she is okay. Just the normal recovering from surgery kind of stuff. As for today, we're going to be looking at part 2 of the 5-part Marvel Zombies comic. This one's landing on Wednesday, October 26th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And with all of these, we're getting that super limited edition mint of 10K. And we've already seen a huge amount of feedback in the community about this comic in particular. And it's exciting for me coming from a love of collecting education standpoint because people are excited about reading this thing. And what's not to be excited about? It is a fun story with some killer art. And if you're just jumping into this thing, this is the first video you've seen. I did a breakdown of sort of the history behind this series in yesterday's info dump video, which I have linked down in the video description. As for today, we're moving right into part 2. And as also with yesterday, this is your graphic alert warning. Some of the panels I'm going to be showing you are going to be disturbing for those younger audiences. I'm a parent, I get it. Just hide the phone and computer from your kiddos if you decide to keep watching. They might just get a little bit freaked out about some of this panel art. With all that being said, let's dig right into this comic. Marvel Zombies number 2 released on January 4th of 2006. And in this one, we get to see what makes Robert Kirkman such an intelligent story writer. Action-driven dialogue clues the reader into the current state of affairs, but it also gives a lot of context as to what these zombies are all about. An action-driven dialogue, that's just a fancy way of saying writing meaningful dialogue, not just for the sake of talking, but for the sake of explaining to the reader what the heck is going on. Because keep in mind, we're in a completely different universe. This is 2149, not your standard Marvel 616. And the conflict here is that in the previous comic, a group took down Magneto and they quickly ate him. They didn't share and they didn't alert the other groups that were also searching for Magneto that this had happened. And ultimately, that's what this whole thing is about. Everyone is starving. They have eaten literally everyone on Earth. There's just a core group of beings that remain. And that hunger, that's what drives this story. And Kirkman also continues to establish in this story that despite these being zombified characters, they still have their wits. They're aware of how disgusting this whole thing is, and there's still a hierarchy amongst these characters. Hank Pym, despite being driven by hunger, is trying to put his brilliant mind to use and find a cure, while he is also slowly eating T'Challa for some sustenance. And the main rising conflict in this story is that a new source of food has made itself apparent, the Silver Surfer. And to make the stakes even higher, the Silver Surfer is announcing the arrival of Galactus. And as readers, it makes you wonder, when Galactus, the devourer of worlds, arrives, who's gonna eat who? In terms of universe-specific first appearances, because remember, this is Earth 2149, this comic is absolutely loaded with them. By our count, there's more than 10 first appearances throughout, giving us glimpses of our favorite characters in their full zombified glory. Now, unlike the first comic in this run, this comic only had one printing, so there are a bunch of variants of this one like we saw in that last one. This one is an homage to Captain America's first appearance as an Avenger, right after he'd been thawed out of the ice back in Avengers number 4. And for those of you new to the platform, we have Avengers number 4 on VeVe, so check that out if you missed it. And because there aren't a bunch of physical variants to reference, we are getting VeVe exclusive rare and ultra rare covers from Stephen Mooney and Edgar Delgado. Both of these artists have a ton of work on the platform already. If you want to dig into them a little bit more, we've got both of their artist websites linked in the video description. As far as physical value, Go Collect has this one sitting at $50, slabbed at 9.8. There's not many in circulating supply. And just a note on this, we always mention the Go Collect value, not because we believe 100% that physical values will drive VeVe prices, but it's a good way to gauge physical collector sentiment around a certain book. When it comes down to it, the products that are on VeVe exist in uncharted territory. Current users and collectors will more than likely establish what the values are going to be in the coming years. And also keep in mind, from a collector standpoint, not everything has to be monetarily valuable to have value to you as a collector. Now, before we dive into the rest of these covers, a quick shout out to my Rhubarb Patch family. It's a busy week and we're doing our best to stay on top of it, but we're never too busy to say thank you to all of our amazing members. You all rock, and we look forward to chatting with you on Saturday during our members giveaway video. And again, that's going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, let's dig into the rest of these covers. First, the Common Classic cover is minting 6,000 editions. This is the digital replica of the original comic, and like we mentioned earlier, this is an Avengers number 4 homage cover. Hank Pym and his wife, the Wasp, are there in the background, and wait till you see what happens with them in this comic. I was straight up flabbergasted whenever I read it. Next, the Uncommon Vintage variant is minting 2,250 editions. With no physical variants to reference, Marvel has swapped to the tried and true color selection method. In this universe, it's not Captain America, it's Colonel America. And he was also the president for a time. In the last comic, the top of his head got sheared off by Magneto. And here we get to see that a bird has made a nest in his exposed brain case. Our first VeVe exclusive is the Rare Hero variant, and it's minting 1,000 editions. Some major Tales from the Crypt vibes coming from Stephen Mooney with this one. If you look at the skull design, eye, and background, it really feels like he's channeling some of those older horror books. Also like that he shifted the title down to the bottom so he could fill this cover out more completely with his artwork. The ultra rare Vibranium variant is minting 500 editions, and we get to see Edgar Delgado throw down some color. Delgado has been getting more and more work with Marvel, and we're constantly seeing his work being featured on some of our favorite comics. For this one, it almost looks like he picked a color palette to complement that Tales of the Crypt-esque design aesthetic. Even the background color washing has an aged feel to it. Really strong Halloween and horror vibes with this one. Really dig it. Last, the True Believer Secret Rare is minting 250 editions. This is an interior panel pull secret rare, and here's the panel it's being sourced from. And it's the perfect panel to select. The entire last 2 books have been leading to this moment by teasing these 2 questions. Can a bunch of zombified heroes take down the Silver Surfer? And if they can the Silver Surfer even be eaten? And the answers to those questions will be revealed whenever we get to look at the next comic in this run. As for me, I've got more videos to make because it is a busy week. I am sporting my Sleeping Comics hat today, and honestly, I think it made me get like a +3 bonus to comic lore, so thank you, Sleeping. Until the next info dump video, this is Corey, signing off.